Well, I was going to start this off with a little bit of fun, but I need to give two huge shout outs to two people who have been here for quite a while. Russell, 2 years, almost 2 years. I realize 1 year short, 1 year short, 1 month short. Dane, it's already been a year. My goodness, thank you both for your support. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for bringing the news today and sponsoring this week's drama section. I mean news section. No, I do absolutely mean it. Completely serious. Thank you too. Golden news this week. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Golden news for the thank you. I'm really touched. You know, it actually means a lot. And the reason it means a lot is like it means that I'm providing some value. It's like one of the metrics that I have for if I provide value to people. And so for me, it's a cool metric point. Not cool isn't cool isn't the right word, but thank you so much, Dane. I super appreciate it. Thank you. My Twitch alerts are working for once. For once, Dane. My Twitch alerts work for you. Thank you so much. Like I said, I can't say how much I actually appreciate it because I appreciate it far more than you could understand. That's what I meant to say. All right. Let's get into the news. Thank you so much. And kudos to Hedgridge and Tixie. I'm going to call you Tixie. That's only the last part. KCDOTEXE. We're just going to go with EXE. Congratulations. Gold is around the all-time high. That was not the news that I was going to cover. Gold being at all-time highs. But, you know, that is golden news. If I had been more prepared, I would have had that to share with you all. Since we're talking about gold, check this out. The gold live charts are brought to you by Russell and Dane. Thank you, you too. Look at this. Beautiful. It's going down, so I don't know if that's helping me. It's not helping me. Let's do our. Okay, we're on the uptick. We're on the uptick, okay? We're on the uptick. All right. Let's get into the actual tech news for today. Two things on security. Gmail security warning for 2.5 billion users. Now, this isn't really a Gmail security issue. I thought it was, and I was going to bring it to you guys because a lot of people use Gmail, and so that's what I was going to bring it to. But this is actually just AI leveraged to fish better than you've ever fished before. This is like dynamite fishing. Do you guys know what dynamite fishing is? It's something developed in my native state of Kentucky, where you chuck some dynamite in the water, and when it explodes, it stuns all the fish, and they float to the top. They're not dead; they're just stunned. Basically, AI is like dynamite fishing for fishing on online fishing. It's basically a cheat code. This was a really interesting one because it was actually somebody, the person that got attacked and that reported this was actually the leader of a hacking group that almost got fooled by the AI hacker. Sounded like a real engineer. The conclusion was super clear, and she had an American accent. And all of this was done via AI. And there was, it was a multi-chain attack. So they actually got access to somebody at Google, so they could send from the Google domain then to attack this person, but all of it was powered through phishing. So I mean, it's the good old standard. It's nothing new. It was just done better with AI. The ones really close to the dynamite are dead. Sure. The fish that were kissing the dynamite do die, but I meant the majority of the fish. Yes, it was AI voice calls. It was AI voice calls and AI emails. So like it was written by an AI persona. And I guess it was very, very real. It didn't go into what voice system it used, just that it was an AI voice system. So I that might be out there. But yeah. So, anyways. It'd be fun to try to make an AI voice system to do something like this. It would be super fun. Because not to do this, not to fish. Let's be clear for all you Twitch moderators out there. I'm not encouraging anybody, but to try to make something that people could interact with that was purely AI. That would be kind of fun project. We might have to try to do that. We have a few other projects on the board, but then we might try to do that one. House lawmakers push to ban AI app DeepSeek from U.S. government devices. Now, I happen to have under pretty good what is this? We got a golden kappa for 24 hours. I don't know what this is, but we got a golden kappa. Thank you, you two. You guys earned a golden kappa. Fantastic. Nice. Very nice. Go spam it. Absolutely. You guys earned it. You two earned it. So go spam your golden kappas everywhere you're allowed to. Anyways, I have it on pretty good confirmation that 100% DeepSeek, if you use its AI app, sends all of your information to China. If that's a problem for you, do not use the DeepSeek app. This isn't like super opinion. If you Wireshark their app, they don't even hide it by hitting US infrastructure. They literally send that crap straight to China. Like there's ways to hide it, and they don't even attempt to hide it. So that's like a really interesting take, because there was ways they could have made this less obvious, and they absolutely did not. They did not. Absolutely did not. So, anyways, whether the U.S. bans it for federal workers or not, if they're worried about it sending it to China, I mean, it absolutely is. All right. That's really all I saw for security. Let me know if you guys saw anything that I missed. These are community news. So if you guys see something in one of these and want to make sure that it's covered, please feel free to bring it up. Now, I have a little video clip for you all to watch. We want to bask in 1999. We want to bask in 1999 because it's going to bring us to 2025. Are we ready?
Okay, so what is the $64,000 question? Holy cow, I'm gonna have to tough it up now. Here we go. What's the $64,000 question for the field? What is the most asked question that I've received this week? What the hell are we supposed to do about .NET, Steve?
.NET.
It's a very good question. And it's got a very, very clear answer. Developers. The key to .NET, the key to industry transformation, the key to success is developers, 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 developers. Developers, 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 developers. Yes.
All right. Now that we've caught up, 1999, the golden kappa developers, AI. This may or may not be in my honest AI ad that I'm working on. Now, you might be like, Merrick, it's taking a long time to make the honest AI ad. And that's correct. It is, because I literally have to make props and order them. So a lot of work is going into that. But I bring up Steve Ballmer for another reason. This is maybe what he's most famous for, but it turns out there's something else he did that he's famous for. Do you view Linux and the open source movement as a threat to Microsoft? Yeah, it's good competition. It will force us to be innovative. It will force us to justify the prices and value we deliver, and that's only healthy. The only thing that we have a problem with is when the government funds open source work. Government funding should be for work that is available for everybody. Open source is not available to commercial companies. The way the license is written, if you use any open source software, you have to make the rest of your software open source. If the government wants to put something on public domain, it should. Linux is not in the public domain. Linux is a cancer that attaches itself to the intellectual property sense to everything it touches. Okay, I only bring this up because oh my goodness, Russell is sharp. Russell is sharp. This is not 2025 is the year that cancer and Linux were reincorporated. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep it a little bit fun while bringing you the news. There was an incident in the Linux kernel that released this patch here. This is the patch, yeah. This patch, which brought better support to the Rust for the Linux kernel. Basically, making the APIs more compatible with Rust. As they are doing, there is currently in the Linux kernel since 2023, there has been this experiment to try to make it so that Rust can be used, and Rust can be used. Now, I will post in chat a few of these so you can go read yourself. And this is the whole email chain here. So you can go read the whole email chain. I don't want to go through the whole email chain. My job isn't to go through all the drama for you all. But if you want to read the whole thing, you can. I'm going to hit the highlights for you. I actually think Linus Torvalds had a really good take on what he did respond to. I do think he needs to respond and follow up a little bit more because there was some ambiguity there. But at one point in this conversation, one second. What point it is, we'll find out in a second. All right. At one point, there was the opinion that the Linux kernel now, to be clear, they made it clear that they were not referring to Rust, but multi-language as a whole. But they did call Rust basically cancer to the Linux kernel project. And you know, I think there's probably better ways they could have done this, but what they were trying to say was that this is going to continue to basically become more and more. It's going to grow in scope and trouble. Now, whether they're true or correct or right or not, I'm not really here to try to convince you one way or another. Just that I get where Christoph was coming from. Sometimes these things can seem innocent enough, and they can kind of snowball out of control as far as how much you have to know and support and work. Now, that being said, this chain was probably not the place to have this, in my opinion, which is what we'll get to. I have it, I think. Linus's response. Now, I think it was very good, and I want to give him kudos because he has struggled with this same thing in the past, and this shows a lot of growth from his point. He would be the person, he would have made a much worse comment than this is cancer on the project. Okay, let's be clear. Linus is pretty much I don't remember the exact quote, but it comes down to your parents should be ashamed of themselves for bringing you into the world type of comments. Like I said, I'm not actually trying to paraphrase. I was like super paraphrasing. Anyways, so this shows a ton of growth on Linus's parts. Because yeah, anyways, if shaming on social media does not work, then tell me what does, because I'm out of ideas. This is basically, coming to it. Anyways, how about you accept the fact that maybe the problem is you? You think that you know better, but the current process works. It has problems, but problems are a fact of life. Okay, so this is something that I think a lot of engineers struggle with. We strive for perfection. And a lot of times, if there's something in the process that isn't working perfectly, we just want to get rid of the whole process because it's not perfect at all. But sometimes we do have to accept that there are processes that work well enough that, I'm not saying that we can't strive to improve those processes, but just taking to social media is maybe not the way, and just berating people on social media is not the way to fix those processes. If it has problems, but problems are the fact of life. There is no perfect. However, I will say that social media just makes me not want to have anything to do with your approach. 100%. Let's make social media fun and innocent again. Like, I don't know. That's a weird statement. I'm not sure I stand behind that one. Because we have issues in the kernel development model, then social media sure as hell isn't the solution. The same way it sure as hell wasn't the solution to politics. Technical patches and discussions matter. Social media project, no thank you. Okay, so good take. Now, the only thing that is missing from this that I could not find that has been answered is he doesn't get to what is expected from this. And I haven't seen if the patch has been added or accepted or merged yet or not. As far as I understand, it hasn't been merged yet. And if it becomes merged, that will kind of be Torvald's stance on it, because this Rust DMA mapping helpers for the API would basically bring the a small amount of Rust into the sacred kernel in the DMA, and where it hasn't, and it would actually basically make support of Rust part of the kernel issue. So what this really breaks down to, there was basically two camps. And I'm just gonna draw this out really quickly for you. Obsidian. We'll just do. Oh no, not that. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. You guys did not screenshot that. I know you didn't. I know you were better than that. Don't do that. Okay, that video already recorded. It's going to be out anyway. So if you screenshot it, no biggie. No biggie. Already recorded. What I wanted to do, if shaming on social media does not work, ban that person from ever touching the code base. Right, Russell. Right. I agree. I'm yes. Yes. You were clipping it? Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So what I wanted to show you was this. There was basically two camps. One where you can use Rust in your drivers, and the kernel supports that, but does not ensure they work. So basically, this would be that the pure, innocent little baby Linux kernel would just be C, and it wouldn't guarantee the things that you made in Rust work. That would be on you. So they could break Rust as much and as often as they like. And then the other camp basically wants to say, hey, we want to make Rust a first-class citizen. Okay, these were basically the two takes. And this is what I want to see. Linus didn't specifically stand up to either one of these takes. If you go and read through these, I mean, Linus only has the one response, I think, as far as I've seen so far right now. And what I'm interested in seeing, what I don't know has been answered yet, is there isn't a clear which approach we're taking, right? Not yet. Now, again, if Linus Torvalds merges it, it will be this one. If he doesn't, it will be this one, basically. He can silently vote. Now, what I want to say as the Linux kernel community, and what I'm going to say about any community, something I have learned, is it doesn't matter which approach you take. If there's division and infighting, it won't work no matter which one. And if you want one to work, you need to adopt it and really go through with it. And you'll never know if it works unless if you actually try. So I've seen this with a lot of teams where they try something, but they kind of try it with the agree to disagree approach. And this is prone to failures because there's some things you just can't agree to disagree on and move forward, because if there's dissidence in it, that itself is going to break it. You know, I famously have a Scrum video out there, and while I make fun of Scrum, there's actually a lot of valid things that are Scrum. There's just a lot of teams that do Scrum wrong, in my opinion. And there's a lot of people that do Agile wrong and take it out of context. The same with DevOps and whatnot. We could probably just about the same with anything. And what I want to say, a really well-functioning team is going to agree and move on and adopt, not this strange dissidence. So, Linux kernel team. I know I don't contribute to you, so really none of my business. But if you want to succeed, it's best if you guys learn to accept things and just try to make it work. That's the only way you're going to know if it really works, because anything that you don't try to make work will 100% fail. All right, we can move on. That's the Linux drama. There was some really cool stuff that happened in open source. Did you guys take anything else out of that? Did you guys see anything else besides that? I didn't want to dig into there was a lot of banter back and forth between the teams. There was people thinking that there should be a community strike on the person that said it was a cancer, which it seemed a little extreme. He didn't call the person a cancer. He just said that he saw Rust or multi-language as a cancer in the code base, which is kind of descriptive. I think a lot of people got heated. And it's, you know what? Honestly, we get heated because we're people and we care. The person that gets heated with the Rust because they care about the Rust. The person that gets heated the other way probably also cares. And you got to come at those conversations understanding that these people probably fight these conversations because they both care. Now, don't take to social media for it. Like, let's just stop there. Let's stop there. You might care, but that's the wrong caring. Russell, it will matter. 100%. 100% it will matter. Let me pull up. I was trying to decide how much to go into this. And I know that there's some bigger influencers that went into a lot and read all of the pieces. So I actually didn't go through all the pieces that I had to read over, because if you want to see that, then you can. But there's actually already people that have stepped down because of this. Okay. There's already people that work at Apple that left. So even without Linus Torvald taking a stance, the infighting has taken a toll. I no longer have faith left in the kernel development process or community management approach. Apple ARM platform development will still continue downstream if I feel like sending some patches. Basically, this is from Hector Martin, and he stepping away from the kernel. He's no longer a maintainer. So you're absolutely right. Whichever path, it will have consequences for the team, for the downstream team, for the people that use Linux. You know, you annoy enough Rust people and they might just make a competing fork of the Linux kernel. I don't think that's going to be the case, but Linux is very much based on the contributors. And if you annoy enough of them, that's a problem. Hector Martin was the person that was, yes. Or at least he was the one that was saying, if shaming on social media does not work, then tell me what does. Look, Hector. We should talk. I feel like you're very stressed, and you probably said this out of exasperation and not that you actually meant this. Because shaming people isn't a way to get them to do anything. Actually, it's a very bad method to get any progress done and to have any amount of teamwork and to build a highly functioning team. If you think that shaming is the way I would build a highly functioning team that I just said could commit to something and try to adopt, commit to something and try to make it succeed, shaming isn't the way. It's not, it won't succeed. All right. We have an ad break in progress. Shame on me. You know, I feel like I made Twitch affiliate, and I feel like that was like a double-edged sword, because I feel like I didn't have any ads before Twitch affiliate. And then I clicked on the Twitch affiliate, like I was like, oh, sure, I'll take Twitch affiliate because then I can get subscribers. And then I got ads. And I almost feel like if I had not taken that, I would not have 24 months from, or 23 months from Russell and 12 months from Dane, but I would have an ad free. Now, maybe that's not true anymore. Maybe they have ads on everything. So I don't know that to be true, but that's like a gut feeling I have. No, I have a couple interesting things that we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to review. There was a ClickHouse versus MongoDB versus Elasticsearch. And I'm going to cover it really lightly, and I'm going to give it to you guys. But we'll cover it a little bit tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am hopefully going to do the PHP side of our Kerflop framework. So we're still working on Kerflop. If you guys are all still ready to watch me try to write YAML to Kubernetes from PHP. If it doesn't work, we might have to switch which piece is PHP, because I know I can do what I need to do in Go or Rust or just about any. I don't know if I can do it in PHP, but I read a little bit. I have a light plan of what to try, but we might need to shift PHP to a different piece of the puzzle. Is there a Super Bowl tech story? Oh, wait, when is the Super Bowl? Is the Super Bowl soon? I should know this. This is American news. You know what? I asked this last week, didn't I? I asked this last week, didn't I? It is this weekend, isn't it? Dang it. It's this Sunday. Okay. Now, if you had asked me when hockey was, I could tell you. I could tell you that easy. You know, we have the Penguins and Rangers today. I mean, that's a big game, and the Islanders and Jets also are today. I'm going to be really glued for that one. And I think the Maple Leafs won, right? Yeah. I'm just pretending, by the way. Totally looked up hockey just now. Just so you all know, I did not actually know those stats. Those were Google stats. What is a trophy called in hockey? Isn't it a trophy, Dutch? I'm pretty sure a trophy is a trophy, no matter what. That was a trick question. That's easy. All right. It's the Stanley Cup. It's still a trophy, right? I mean, some people say the Stanley Cup is the big one. Some people say the Golden Puck. Some people say the Golden Corral. I don't know. I thought the Stanley Cup was racing, to be fair, but I don't know car racing either. So, you know what? I guess I'm just really bad at sports. All right, let's get back to the tech news because we have some cool stuff happening in open source. The first one, I don't know if this is interesting. I actually don't know because it's interesting on its face, and then it's made for a highly specific use case, but I don't know if that's the only use case you can use it for. The Linux Foundation Energy Release V1 of Seapath. I always wanted to say Seapath. I don't know why I read that as Seapath or Seapath. I have no idea why, to me, that looks like Seapath more than it does Seapath. But it does. Okay. Anyways, I'm pretty sure it's Seapath is how it's pronounced. Anyways, open source software hypervisor for digitalizing electrical power substation systems. So like I said, it's a new open source software hypervisor for electrical power substation systems. Does this have promise outside of those? I honestly don't know. I'd love to have your guys' take on it, but the Seapath is a security-hardened, real-time hypervisor for digital substation virtualization, protection, and control applications that has already been deployed in production. Now, obviously, it has that, but my question is, can you use it as a general-purpose hypervisor? Like, is there something that makes it only approachable to electrical power subs? I honestly don't know. I read through the whole announcement. I'll give you guys the link yourselves. Don't go hacking your substation. Do you know the one time that I lost power and couldn't stream like 6 months ago was because somebody had swerved to avoid a deer and drove their car into our substation. So like, there was the hack. Everybody was fine, actually, and the deer wasn't hurt. And the person in the car actually didn't die, but they did damage the substation. Anyways, I found this really interesting because obviously it provides something that other virtualization doesn't, enough for the Linux Foundation to adopt. And it's super secure, which maybe that's the thing. But then if that's the thing that it has over, let's say, KVM, would we not just adopt Seapath? I want to say Seapath, but man, my goodness, that's ridiculous. It's Seapath. Shouldn't we just adopt it? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know, but it's cool and it's out there. Something that might affect you, which is actually really, really cool in the open source world, is that Ubuntu is making available Microsoft's new WSL distribution format. I'm a huge fan of WSL. I don't use it a whole lot, so don't sit here and call me a hypocrite. I just don't use Windows a whole lot, which means I can't use WSL a whole lot. But if I do use Windows and I do touch it, I always turn WSL on and actually use it. Anyways, that being said, Microsoft, this is probably should have been more of a Microsoft news, but they released a new distribution. Basically, you can release your WSL app as a tar-based distribution. So you don't have to use the Windows Store anymore. It used to be, and this was the case when I was working at SUSE, it used to be the case that all of these had to go through the Microsoft Store, and there was like this specialized form. There was no way to sideload a WSL distribution, no way to make your own, no way to do this. It was very much Microsoft way or the highway. And Microsoft has made it so that you can now do it as a tar, which is actually pretty cool. You could roll your own WSL distribution if you wanted to. So I think this is really cool. And yeah, awesome. Also, if you don't want to use the Microsoft Windows Store, you can now sideload it. So, there you go. The other piece of interesting open source news that I found was that the Framework Laptop RISC-V board for open source diehards is available for $200. That's actually really tempting. That's cheaper than I thought it was going to be. Remember, you can run this board headless. You can run this board headless for $200. I'm on a savings plan right now, so I can't afford it because I am on a strict budget, because I said 2025, I'm going to be on a strict budget. I'm on a strict budget. So I can't buy this right now because I'm buying a $3,000 machine learning powerhouse for us, but it's on my things to buy if I get the available expenditures to do, because I think it would be fun to play around with, add to the Null cloud. I already have a 3D printed case for it. So yeah, anyways, I'm kind of excited about it. And for $200 really is the cheapest RISC-V actual piece of kit for RISC-V. Like, I have some little devices, but this is maybe the most complete kit so far. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Moving on. We have time. Let's talk cloud news. And then I don't know why for my AI section, I have AII, which is too capitalized, which I was reading as all. And I was like, what is the all section? What is the all section? But it's the AII section. That's interesting. Anyways, let's talk cloud news. There was some interesting stuff that happened. I'm going to talk about investors a little bit. And then we're going to get into the actual announcements, because the only reason I get into this is that this has we talk about AI a lot and the impacts on things. And so far, I haven't actually seen AI impact anything except for spend. It's only actually increased people's expenditures. Some of that is anecdotal, and some of that is by just my rough observations. Some of it is actually in the facts that I get from things like this. So that's why these type of reports from AWS and Amazon, AWS and Amazon. I meant AWS and Azure, and maybe even GCP, are actually really important to follow to some extent, because you can kind of glean some stuff from what the markets are doing. But more than the markets, what are the developers doing? What are the companies leveraging these platforms doing? Because that's where you see the spend and things like that. Amazon's cloud unit, AWS, reports weaker than expected revenue growth. So their cloud grew actually quite a bit, substantially less than they thought. Amazon retail business offset the cloud weakness, which is fine. I don't really want to focus on that. But what was interesting was the Amazon's chief financial officer said they expected the capital expenditure run rate for this year to be roughly the same as last year's fourth quarter, which was $26.3 billion, which is quite a bit of money. If we look more into this, what I was looking into was like, how did they break down that expenditure? So they're spending almost 30 billion, is what they're going to spend each quarter this year. And the results suggest the company has continued to ride the wave of significant reallocation in its growth, with the company saying it's reaping benefits from when it posted in the third quarter, blah, 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 blah. What I saw here was this. The public cloud giant's full year results provided further evidence of this trend, with the company reporting a 19 year-over-year uptick in revenue to this and a swing back to profitability, having banking and income of this. So describe the full quarter of 2024 as being the remarkable innovation for AWS and the rollout of new artificial intelligence, AI enabling chips and foundation models. What I have come to realize after trying to read, I didn't sit in on the whole AWS shareholder meetings. These can actually take a very long time and are very long with a lot of different things in them. And maybe I should do that more, is that they're spending a lot on AI workload costs. And these haven't actually proven fruitful monetarily yet. People aren't making money doing AI agents and AI anything at this point. You know, obviously a lot of people think, you know, once you get to scale, once you get this, once you can make some efficiencies, scale efficiencies and whatnot. But so far, that's not quite the case. And that's the one thing, the one metric out of this that I really wanted to track for you all was, are companies actually making money off of this at this point? How much are people leveraging this? You know, with AWS on course to spend $100 billion on infrastructure in the next 12 months, you understand that their capital on infrastructure has doubled in 2 years. Doubled in 2 years. This is a quite staggering increase, which generally I would say comes from the AI workloads. We can kind of see it because it was kind of growing at a standard pace before the AI stuff. Now it's growing much faster. So this is something I want to get a little bit better about with the cloud news. I want to start, and maybe I need to sit through the whole shareholder meetings, buy one share of each company, so I get invited to those, and get to sit in and listen on them instead of just reading the sub notes of everybody else. Although there's a ton of data to go through in those. So right now for this year, I'm not promising to have a share in each one of these and listen to all of their shareholder things. But what I am going to try to do is whenever there's big shareholder earnings coming up, I'm going to do a better job of putting these in like a spreadsheet and graphing them for you all and trying to glean the information that we can from it a little bit better at a high level. And you heard it here first. No AI company is profitable at this point, except for DeepSeek, which might have stolen all of the IP that it has. besides for that one seems profitable because it was pretty cheap. Although I think that they have like billions of dollars of GPUs. Okay. So let's talk the rest of the cloud news, the standard cloud news that you're accustomed to. Announcing the public beta of Gen AI Toolbox for databases today, which was actually February 6th, which was yesterday. That's how breaking news this is. It's only a day. It's only 24 hours old. Today, we're thrilled to announce the public beta and launch of Gen AI Toolbox for Database in partnership with LangChain, the leading orchestration framework for developers building large language model applications. It's an open source server that empowers AI applications connect production grade agent-based generative AI applications to databases. This is cool. I actually do think that this is very cool. Yeah. Yeah, it basically, I mean, it's a little overhyped, but it basically gives secure access to databases to AI agents. So AI agents could programmatically do something in a database. Now, I say it's cool and it's terrifying at the same time because to me, data is sacred. And when you have AI, anything involved in the sacred data, then you have the chance to corrupt that sacred data. Now that being said, there could be a very good use case where that your database, for instance, is the AI portion of it, and your sacred data is somewhere else. I don't know. But it's also cool. I'm interested in seeing what they do more with it, and seeing where those things go. I am watching it. I'm watching you, Google. Amazon Q developer introduces that was all for GCP, by the way. It was pretty lightweight. A new simplified setup experience for pro tier subscriptions. Now, this is an interesting thing. They have a pro tier. I don't know when they introduced the pro tier subscriptions. When I tested it with the AI games, it didn't have a pro tier subscription. Not that I knew of, at least. So maybe I was using the dented tier version. Maybe that's why it sucked so bad. Like I didn't pay for the actual pro tier, and I got junior developer Amazon Q. That's what I got out of this. I was like, holy crap, there's a pro tier. I got to get to this. AWS Toolkit for Visual Studio Code now supports Amazon Document DB with MongoDB capability. I love how this is like part of its name. Like Amazon Document DB with MongoDB capability. Anyways, this allows you in Visual Studio Code to view, create, and manage Amazon Document DB resources. It's a little scary, but could also be really powerful for like dev environments where you want to integrate or iterate quickly. You probably don't want this access with your production environments, but for dev environments, it sounds really, really awesome. Amazon Document DB with MongoDB support. I am upset that they didn't put it here. Like, come on, how to leave me hanging? Like, what the crap? What the crap? It's with MongoDB capability. Is this Amazon Document DB without MongoDB capabilities? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe if you use the one-click connectivity with Cloud Shell, you don't get MongoDB capabilities. We don't know because they didn't tell us. All right, moving on. That's there. Happy. This one is really, really, really interesting because this one I actually made a response video to their blog post. So if, for example, there was a lot of people that said AWS gave up on microservices, and I said, in fact, people that said that don't know what they're talking about. Even AWS, I asked to clarify their blog post because it gave the wrong impression. Now, that whole thing where they were saying that they were giving up on microservices was because of step functions and how many state machines and activities per AWS account could be happening. They were actually hitting hard limits of this AWS step function state machine. And so I think this is actually really cool because one thing that I think happened from this is that the team that makes step functions got valuable feedback from the dog fooding. Now, a lot of the times it was actually that the team that was using the step functions was just using it for not what step functions was originally designed to do. And that's fine. We do that sometimes. I do that all the time. I use PHP for things it's not designed all the time, which is just about anything. You know, you use PHP. It wasn't designed for that. That's anyways, I just got canceled again. All right. And so anyways, I'm guessing because of some of that dog fooding, this came about. So that's really cool. If you've been using step functions and that 10,000 was too little, yeah, they just decimated that. And by decimated, it's an inverse decimation. An inverse decimation. Oh, sorry, I just hit the mic. You're using JavaScript. It wasn't. It wasn't designed for that. Look, with JavaScript, hot take here. Dutch, with JavaScript, you could have just taken the for that off of the sentence, okay? I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to get canceled a third time today. But you could have just removed the for that. And that statement would have been true. Okay, moving on. I'm sorry. Everybody, hopefully you know that I'm joking. A little bit of fun. A little bit of fun. None of this cancel culture. My goodness. My Freudian slips are bad today. You can now configure application gateway, API manager, and container apps as private link enabled origins. This is actually, I think, is pretty huge. I don't use Azure, but the ability to have things as private link enabled origins in your front door premium profile sounds pretty powerful to me. If you guys don't know what private link is, it's basically what Cloudflare got its roots doing is it's providing this private network between two different clouds, two different endpoints. It could be your database, or not database, but your data center and the cloud that you're providing. It can be from a customer to yours. It can be from GCP to Azure. It can be from anything to anything. And this is really probably the bread and butter of Cloudflare. Now, obviously, they've expanded a lot, but that's what their claim to fame is. Anyways, being able to do this natively is super, super powerful. Yeah, you use private links heavily in your last employer. Yeah, they're super powerful. And so bringing these to native configuration for your application gateways, your API management, and container apps, that's awesome. I am like super pumped by this. They didn't nearly hype this as much because it doesn't have AI in it. I realize it doesn't have AI in it, and thus they can't hype it. But this is really cool. I'm excited about it, and I don't even use application gateway. I don't even know what it is. I can kind of guess, but it's fine. And then the other thing that they did was introducing the new AKS monitoring experience, unified insights to your family. More and better insights are always better. Like, I'm never not going to be excited about more better insights into your data. Like, I will never not hype this as a great experience, a great thing. Yeah. You just can't convince me. Can't do it. You could probably convince me. All right. We got a wrap up. I have like 15 minutes left. We have a few things. Something that's something that is kind of interesting to me. We're going to talk about our I don't know how to pronounce AI, but it's the super intelligence that's coming for us. It's the next section that we're talking about. Did anybody else see anything interesting in cloud? Did you? Sorry, I didn't ask for community input on that, and I should have. I'm going to take a breath to pause and get your feedback. Pause given. viewers decreased. Fantastic. Let's get into the IE of today. Open Universal Machine Intelligence. I love it. And I love it for one reason. They didn't use artificial intelligence. Now, they did do .ai instead of .mi. I will forgive them for today, but I am putting in a request for it to be .mi because it's not Mission Impossible, but it is pretty close. Okay. We've seen a lot about open source stuff and open source machine learning. And you guys also know I hate the word artificial intelligence because it's so misleading in so many different ways. But the Linux Foundation, the University of Oxford, I think it was Linux Foundation is part of this, I think. Don't quote me on that one. Maybe not the Linux Foundation. But a truly open AI. That's what they're looking for. Not some of these like to contend with this. I'll put Llama. Llama isn't truly open. It's not available with an MIT license like you might expect because there's training data and stuff. You can use the model. It's an open model, but it's not really open source. And the Open Universal Machine Intelligence is I don't know how to pronounce that, okay? It's Oumi. I'm going with Oumi. Oumi? No, there's no V. Oumi. Yeah, Oumi. We're going with Oumi. Oumi's really cool. And it's a cool idea. And I'm actually going to try to leverage this for something that we do. For one of our AI agents or something like that. I think it's really cool. One of the reasons it's cool is because one of the things that they go into is like being able to run anywhere, data synthesis, also pre-training and fine-tuning and evaluation of any model is something that can be difficult with some of these less open models. But yeah, anyways, we're going to give it a shot. How zoom in am I? You guys need to read every pixel, okay? So when I stream, it's larger because the difficult part is GitHub. I usually have open on my 4K monitor sitting right over here that chat's open up on, okay? And because of that, I'm zoomed up a little bit more. And when I stream with it even larger because a lot of people said that they use mobile and stuff like that, and they like the larger text. And so I try to make sure that everything is nice and large. Now, this is kind of blown a little bit. You know, if I was going to read it, I would probably have it something like this. This is like a comfortable reading for me. You know, I could, yeah, this is comfortable reading for me. So I'd probably have it like this with my superior eyesight. But you know, for you guys, I have it up like this. I actually read it probably like this. This is comfortable for me. I have perfect eyesight. My brain sight is the thing that's lacking. My brain sight and reading is lacking. Hard lacking. Okay. Sam Altman. OpenAI has been on the wrong side of history concerning open source. I just found this yesterday. I just found this. Sam Altman, I have a t-shirt. I'm making it for a video that I'm making. If you want one, I will send it to you for free. You make way more money than I do, but I will send it to you for free. Okay? Just if you want it, text me. You probably have my phone number. You can DM me. I don't check those very often, so it might take a little while, but I have a t-shirt coming for you. And I'll get one printed off for you for free. Yeah. If Sam Altman spoke up in my chat, I would not know how to respond. I would not be prepared for that. 100% not be prepared for that. You're more than welcome, Sam. Would not be prepared. Okay, deep research is been released. I still don't have access because I refuse to pay $200 because it's not in my budget. But if I get the budget, I might pay for it after I get my RISC-V CPU. You guys can go ahead and use this. Tell me what you think about it, whatever. Supposedly, it's really cool. What I found really, really interesting is, do you know how when you've made something to tell if it's actually really cool is if somebody can copy it in 24 hours? Because that's what deep research, freeing our search agents by Hugging Face. Absolute legends here. They said, hey, what if we could do everything they did in 24 hours? Yesterday, OpenAI released Deep Research, a system that browses the web to summarize content and answer questions based on summary. The system is impressive and blew our minds when we tried it for the first time. One of the main results, blah, blah, blah. They talk about benchmarks, which you guys know my feelings on benchmarks. They're garbage, unless if you're marking on a bench. And then that's completely different. Those are still garbage. Don't mark up our nice, perfectly good benches. We like to sit on them without marks. Anyways, moving on. They said, so we decided to embark on a 24-hour mission to reproduce their results in open source and the needed framework along the way. Now, I totally, at this point in the article, expected Monster Energy to be like a, I actually already sent this. Expected Monster Energy to be sponsoring this. Be like, we didn't sleep for 24 hours. Here's what we did. And then they document everything that they went through and did. Okay, the demo was not live erroring when I went the first time I was here. The live demo did not error out. Okay, anyways. So this is really, really cool. I suggest you go and read it if you're interested in this. I've read it and gone through it now. I need to read it and go through. Like I said, we've been working on an AI agent on stream, and we're going to get back to that as soon as we're done with the Kerplop framework. I'm excited to do some more stuff with this, especially as I see more open source examples that we can learn from. This is like super cool. Big AI has taken down the demo. I wonder if we go here, it will be like up here. Okay. So maybe it's still up. Maybe that was just like a weird hiccup. Can you please explain to me highlights of AWS's most recent shareholders what is it called? Shareholders it's their communication, it's their quarterly earnings report. Briefing. Thank you, Russell. Words. All right. While that's working, let's continue on with the AI news. And thank you so much for the follow. Nami, you are a legend. Thanks for following. All right. There's one last thing in oh wait. Oh no. In 2023. Oh gosh. It's Oops. This got 2024 at least. Regardless of how good this is doing, it's still cool that it's doing this stuff here, right? I think that's like the really interesting thing here, that it's like coming up with some code, running that code and getting the results back and trying some stuff with that. This is kind of the really cool stuff that Cursor is doing, where they're taking the things and running multiple things based off of that. That's just a big if statement. It's easy, but it's also cool. All right. Junie has arrived. Now, the first AI code agents that JetBrains released was not great. You can read the reviews. They barely left 1.1 stars. It wasn't good at all. Now, they're back at it with Junie. They didn't even keep the same name and go with V2. They said that was so bad, we're coming out with Junie. So Junie is their new AI for everything. It takes kind of that AI agent approach. So Junie now isn't just bad at code, but can be bad with your file system and do agentic things like actually manipulating and running stuff locally. I don't know if it's any worse or better than the original. I hope that it's better because their last one was not great. But Junie is out. Junie is there to help you. You can say, okay, Junie, and it will pull it up because Junie is always listening to all of your conversations while you have the idea. That part's a joke. Junie will take a picture of your code every 5 seconds for complete and total recall. That's also a joke. Shame on you, Microsoft. Wondering if it's used in-house to work on the Writer Nougat system? Oh, gosh. I mean, got the wrong year. No. Actually, 2024 is the right year because it would have been the end of 2024. So this is fine. It kind of, I'm not even sure how it did it, but with the 2023, but you know, it got there eventually. I haven't, I'd have to check the numbers and everything to make sure like it also gave me the right data, but that's beyond the point. All right. Last thing that I have got to go. I've got to run. I just do the news during my lunch breaks on Friday. If you like these, go ahead and hit that follow button so you can, or subscribe button or whatever button it is on the platform that you're watching. Super appreciate you all coming in here, hanging out, going over the news with me. I try to keep the drama to a minimum, but I like covering it to a little bit. But I also try to bring stuff that helps you. Now, tomorrow, we're going to take a break. Whenever I get overloaded with PHP, we're going to take a break because I know that as I try to do these things in PHP, I am going to fail pretty hard. So if you want to see me fail, come join us tomorrow. But if you'd like to see a review of this article, you can also come tomorrow. The Billion Docs JSON Challenge, ClickHouse versus MongoDB, Elasticsearch, and more. Now, ClickHouse is a database. It's a column-based database that I have watched and we have talked about for a little bit. And they did a really cool benchmarking. And because it's a benchmark and they actually did a pretty good job on the benchmarking, it's kind of long. And if you actually want to know all of the stuff, you actually have to click through links because some of this stuff is like, all right, this query, the MongoDB version and the result. And this is like how they configured MongoDB. Because one of the things that you'll realize with benchmarking is configuration of the database for your data set is really important. Now, I don't know. I'm not an expert in all of these. Really, of these, the only two that I know a little bit are Postgres and DuckDB. And so I could only look at the configuration of these two themselves. I guess MongoDB a little bit too. This was based on the Java Billion Row Challenge. Yes. The Billion Docs JSON Challenge. We took 1 billion row challenge, this one. So the Java 1 billion row. Absolutely. Anyways, so I want to go into and explain some of my thoughts on that, because that's really important when you're talking about this. And not to discredit ClickHouse when doing this, but I do know some of the difficulty of doing a really good comparison, because sadly, ClickHouse isn't an expert in configuring DuckDB or Elasticsearch or Postgres. And so some of this, when you read it, you have to understand that they are experts. So even if they mean the best, they can't configure these down here nearly as well as they can configure ClickHouse for the operations that they're going to do on it, because they're experts at ClickHouse. This is bias that you can't get rid of, and you just have to understand that when going into Benchmark. Anyways, I'm going to explain some of that and my thoughts on these. It was a really cool test, and I'm glad that they did it. I'm super glad, and not hating on them or anything like that. There are just things you have to understand when looking at database benchmarking. And I wanted to cover that tomorrow with you all. And I will do that whenever I get fed up with PHP and regret the decision of doing kerflop and not chaos netties. They should just do out of the box for each DB. That's an interesting take on it. I think if people did that, they would never show any results. They would just stop benchmarking. Or you would overly tune your defaults to what you think the majority of people would like to see in a benchmark. I don't know. That's an interesting take. All benchmarks, I'm going to say this from every company, even those of my own, are marketing material. 100%. Not glorified. They're marketing material. That you've just, I had like a 20-minute thing with graphs to show you all. You've just cut to the chase. That was it. And they're not bad. And there's a lot of stuff we can learn from doing these things. You can look through this and learn a lot about how databases can be configured and run to handle these things. And I will always say that different databases handle different things well. And a lot of that goes to how they organize their files, how they handle those files on disk, how they index them. And so every database is going to have a certain amount of this. For example, Postgres actually supports many different index paths. Which one did they pick? How did they index it? Like, all of these things matter so much. And now, I would never expect Postgres to win this. Postgres was never designed to do this. It's cool that they put Postgres in there, but it's also not surprising that Postgres did a really bad job at it. Like, really bad. And this is not surprising. But could you get Postgres to do better? I don't know. I haven't gone through all of their stuff. It's a lot of stuff to go through. It's a ton. Well, they compared everything that had document support. And I say everything, but they didn't actually compare Aerospike because it has a document support. So, they compared everything that wouldn't beat their pants off. Sorry, that was super biased. Super biased. Ignore what I said. We'll move on. And we'll move on. Thanks everybody for joining me. I'm a super biased human, as we all are. Let's see if I can't find somebody to raid really quickly. I don't normally raid people when streaming because I can't even go to their chat. I just normally raid people. I just gotta go. But we will raid somebody doing something cool. Who do I raid? Let's raid TJ. He's just starting. Quick and easy. Okay. This stream was sponsored by Alex Dane and Russell. Two legends that if you have in your chat, you should be honored to have in your chat. Thank you, both of you, for the golden kappas. You earned them. And they're absolute legends. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. We should have fun. And if not, next week. Bye, everyone. And I'll try not to do the chair streaming thing anymore. That was fun, but just one-time experience. Is there a Rust DMA stream? Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Bye. I guess I just created the raid. I have to create the raid, then say bye. Noob streamer here. Only done it for a year or two. 2 years, I guess. All right. Go say hi to Tej. I can't. I gotta run. You guys have a fantastic week.